You're listening to the Finding Truth podcast. When we're not getting distracted by Jacob's plain facts, we discuss taking ownership of our faith and what it looks like to follow Jesus in today's culture. Here are your hosts, Lachie and Brad.
Well, hello and welcome to episode 2 of the Finding Truth podcast. I'm Lachie. We're here with Brad from Riot Hill, and today our guest is Steve Gray from Burleigh Church. Steve, how are we?
I'm good. I felt like an audience member there.
I felt like
the price is right. Like,
and I did that like a radio show. We haven't done any of the other episodes like that.
We really
well, this is the first. What do you mean any other? This is the first episode.
This is the first.
That's right.
This is the first episode, and in the future we won't make it sound like a radio show.
No. We should get them to wave like they're a contestant. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even know which camera I'm meant to look at, but I do that. So. But it's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, awesome. So Steve is from our church down here at Burleigh, and yeah, it's good to have him on the show. So today we're going to kick off looking at our first practice together. So
yeah, and I think this practice has really helped me, so I'm pretty excited to launch off with this one. I think it's a good foundational point for where we go forward from here. So, and we've got the absolute legend in the area, the one who's been doing a lot of work in this in other places, coming to share with us. So excited to hear what you have to bring today, Steve.
Sure. No, well, look, I wouldn't know about legend in the area, but I agree with you. This practice, I'm stoked to talk about it, not because I know everything about it, but because it's worked for my life, and it's just a great way to. Yeah, it's a great way, I reckon, to kick off any series, or kick off any year, or kick off any new routine. And of course, I'm talking about a practice called the rule of life.
yeah.
And so, do you want me to explain a little bit about that? We got a couple episodes to talk about it, but do you want me to tell a little bit what the rule of life is?
Yeah, absolutely. Because we've just come back from camp.
Yep.
And so we've just come back from looking at this topic of rule and reign and wrestling through what's controlling our lives. And so I think this is the perfect time to jump into something like rule of life. And so by all means, if you can sort of shed some light on that, that would be awesome.
Yeah,
cool. Well, there's heaps of different, I guess, things we see Jesus do. And this was not necessarily Jesus. There's no point in the Bible where Jesus sits down with his disciples and says, all right, we're going to do a rule of life. But he's certainly intentional. He certainly makes disciples. And I know even if I say the word disciples, it's a big
no
word. One walks around going, welcome to Woolies. We want to train you on the register. You'll be his disciple. But essentially that's what it means. It's students.
We should start that though, because that would be great.
Instead of trolley boy, it's trolley disciple.
So Jesus did have students though, and he had rhythms and he had ways. And he said, one of most Jesus' famous lines is, come follow me. Come watch what I do. Come see my rhythms. Come see what we call our rule of life. And so that's where the concept of this practice comes from. And it's this idea that, I guess, rule not in laws, not like, here's my law for life. It's rule as in more like a ruler.
Yeah.
And so probably one analogy, we'll come up with a few over the next few episodes, but one idea is when you make a cake, I don't make cakes.
I don't, but
and probably anyone watching this don't make, I don't know a lot of people that make cakes, but say you make a cake and you know that the concept of it and you're putting in sugar and you're going to put milk, I think you put eggs in. But what you know is you just got to measure what you're putting in. Otherwise it doesn't come out a cake.
Yep.
And so this idea that I'm stoked to explore with you guys is, what are you putting in to your life? Not so much your cake, but your life, and then what's coming out, what's actually being produced out of that. Once you put in the oven, what comes out? Because chances are what you're going to put in is going to come out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to stretch that a little bit further as well, what comes out is what you do with what comes out. You can take that cake down the road to Bessie and give it to her for her 80th. And I think in the same way, God is forming things in us, bringing things out of us to then be a blessing to others.
100%. That's it. Yeah. So it's actually useful. If you know what's going in, you know what's coming out, and you can know it's actually, I guess, be fruitful, which is another one of those religious sort of words, but it's going to be helpful.
Yeah.
It's good. And coming back from camp, I think one of the things you guys are all probably experiencing, and so we as leaders, is you sort of get this time away. There's no distractions. You're, for the most part, out of reception. You're not scrolling through TikToks and Reels all day. And all of a sudden you come back, you've got, school coming up. You've got distractions of internet and of friends and family and, all other sorts of things. So I guess I'll just ask if you speak into what do you think those that fullness of life in all of its distractions and drawing of our attention away does to us as a person. How is that affecting us?
Yeah, great question. I guess, yeah, it's a great place to start with, because it starts with that, again, that word disciple or that follower or that student. We so easily forget that this world is teaching us things all the time, is filling us up with things. And I think you guys explored this at camp, but obvious one, TikTok. I've had TikTok, probably too old for TikTok, but my goodness, we've all done the, it's like 7 o'clock should go to bed and then it's 1 a.m. But I guess the deeper question than that is not just it's easy to go, that's evil, but is it? That's not actually the question. The question is, what is that doing to me?
Yeah.
So just scrolling through, just being entertained, even if it's not bad stuff, even if it's, most of mine are just ridiculous, like Stranger Things and Star Wars theories. It's not evil stuff, but it's like
updates on your electronic racing horse.
Yes, yeah, that's it. So updates in the crypto space and Obi-Wan theories, and then lately I've been getting into Stranger Things. So it's all about that. But so it's not evil stuff, but what's that actually forming in me? Like a diet, like ingredients to a cake. And so really important, especially if people listening on the space after camp or even didn't come to camp, but are just examining their life and what's going in. They've got to ask themselves, hey, what's the TikTok reel doing to me? Hey, what's this show doing to me? Like, what's this? Hey, what are these friends that I like? It's good to have all types of friends, but what are they actually speaking into my life? What are they saying? Because it's going to come out. It's going to affect you. It's going to change you. And there's kind of this lie that I reckon our world tries to tell us, that like we're free spirit, we're not a disciple of anything. Like you can't define me. I'm an individual. I have my own playlist. But how come every single person that says that seems the same? And so in my era, it was the goth, and I'm a bit old, but every like individual goth that were all black and just had their black fingernails, they all looked the same, yet they were all being different.
That's right.
And so we are all being formed. Whether you like it or not, whether you're yelling at your headphones at the moment going, that's not true, we're all being formed. And so it's so important to actually acknowledge that at bare minimum. You are being shaped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I like what you've said. I've heard you say it in the past. It's everyone is being discipled by something. It's just it's a question of what. And so whether you're a Christian or not a Christian, everyone is being influenced by the things that we're putting in front of us. We're being influenced by that influencer on TikTok or by that person at school or that friend or that social, like Netflix show, whatever it is. We're all being influenced by something. And I guess that's a little bit of the reason why we started this podcast as well. It's just a question of what are we putting in? What are we letting disciple us or influence us? And what are we letting lead us? Where are we looking?
It's good. Yeah. And I think once we've sort of highlighted for ourselves or become more aware of what is forming us, just as a bit of an introductory thought, how do you think that the practice of a rule of life can help us in that space?
Yeah,
what is that going to do for us?
Phenomenal. And so I guess, it starts there. If there was one hope for this episode today, this discussion is to straight away at least ask yourself, am I being discipled? The answer is yes, but you can still ask yourself. And then what am I being discipled? And then measure it. And so, I don't know, a great activity, a great thought, reflection exercise is think about this week where your energy went, what you're thinking about, what you were doing with your time, where you spend your money, where you spend your time and energy, and then just think about that. Even if you tally up the hours, a great way is to look on your phone, and it's dangerous, and have a look at your apps and see how much time you spend on it.
Tell you what, it's
pretty confronting.
It's pretty confronting looking at that usage page on your phone.
But there's ways to do that yourself as well. Just not even just on your phone, but in a sense, a screen time report of your entire week or your entire life. Like how much time did I spend here and with who, or what did I spend my money on this week?
Exactly. So I'd start there. So assess that question. Who am I being discipled by? And then not outrageous guilt, or not trying to go, I'm a bad person. I've just admitted I'm guilty of this all the time. But then it's going, hang on, I get to, in a sense, control that. I get to be, better word, I get to be intentional about that. So I actually get to decide who I'm becoming. And if you're a Christian, or if you're pursuing that, or for me, it's cool to go, hey, God, how about you decide what I'm going to do in my time? And so that's where the rule of life comes in, which is literally a document, or again, a reflection exercise of going, what am I going to do in this next season because it's going to shape who I'm going to become. So if it's getting fit, obviously, if it's getting fit, it's like exercise. If it's going to want to be healthier, it's eating healthier. If it's, insert here. If I want to grow my relationship with God, then I'm going to figure out the ingredients. That means that's actually probably what I'm going to produce. And so that's what I'm really excited about, the rule of life. And I love that you guys are talking about it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, well, we're excited to continue that conversation in the week to come and the months to come, actually.
Absolutely.
So, that's probably a really good place, Steve, just to start with that self-reflection. If you need to sit down, journal, whatever it needs to be, write a note on your phone, a couple dot points. Who am I being discipled by, or what am I being discipled by? And then hopefully the more we talk about this space and bring that practice forward, we can all see some really good positive change in our lives.
Awesome. Sounds good. That's exactly right. And don't forget, I mean, obviously this is the first time we've launched a practice on the app, and it's all very new and exciting. And so with that, you'll also be able to find in that app space under the devotions tab, there will be a devotional or some guided reflection stuff material in there around the rule of life. And so under week 1, we'll have some stuff there, even some note spots where you can start to write down and journal a little bit and make some notes about what's discipling you. But otherwise, week 2, we'll see you then. Thanks for listening.